All right. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday. Leon and I are coming to you all live from Investing Education Academy. First and foremost, we want to recognize the Tulsa Massacre from the 1920s, and we're going to talk about it today. Before we dive fully into that, we're going to be talking about the massacre as it relates to Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But also want to thank everybody who recently has joined IEA and those who have joined not only the Bulls platform, but the Panthers platform. We have grown by about 3 or 4 members, so that's awesome. Welcome to the family. And if you are interested in joining Investing Education Academy, you can go to investingeducationacademy.com and check out our membership options. If you're interested in learning more about cryptocurrencies, particularly about cryptocurrency, you can go to IEACryptoBulls.com. And for anybody interested in learning more about crypto and joining that mastermind, it's really fast paced. It's $200 a month. Right now, we are going up to about 25 members, and we're going to close that cohort, and we're going to start cohort number 2. Right now, we are at about 14 members, 13, 14 members. And Leon didn't tell you, we have one more joining tomorrow. They've already sent all their information to join. So that's going to be between 14, 15 members. So about 10 slots left. After cohort number 1 is done, we're moving to cohort number 2, and the starting monthly cost for cohort number 2 will be $300 a month. So if you are thinking about it, crypto is going nowhere besides up. And you really need to figure out, are you going to be part of a community, or are you going to keep figuring it out on your own? With that being said, again, today we're going to be talking about the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre that happened in the 1920s, as it really affected Black Wall Street. So while we talk about why we chose this topic, Leon can tell you, and I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping.
Yeah, so yesterday was the anniversary, I believe, of the Tulsa, what they call the Tulsa Race Massacre. And for those who don't know, and it's actually funny, it was not funny, but it's interesting that there are a lot of people in this world, especially this country, who are just now finding out about the Tulsa Massacre. It happened in 1921. I would imagine, and it's not just white people, not just Asian people. There are a lot of Black people that knew nothing about this.
There are a lot of Black people living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that really didn't fully understand it.
Yep. So just to give we're gonna go deeper into it. Just give a brief overview. So Tulsa, Oklahoma was a place in what they call Black Wall Street, and what it was a place where and that term. So, of course, today we think of Wall Street, we think of the exchanges and stocks. The quote unquote Black Wall Street was not that. It was basically a business district or business neighborhood that was thriving. I mean, it was Black. Well, I mean, just imagine today, middle class and upper middle class African Americans. That's what it was in the 1920s. Now, remember the 1920s. Remember what the country was like then: segregation, racism. Some aspects of Jim Crow. All that was going on. There's whites only bathrooms, Black only bathrooms, stuff like that was going on then. So to have a thriving ecosystem into it of itself that was only Black Americans was completely rare. I mean, it just didn't happen. So that's why it was called the Black Wall Street. It was called Black Wall Street because because again, Wall Street deals with business, things of that nature. This neighborhood and this community was really business driven. And it was, like I said, it was really, really, really thriving. Middle class, upper middle class Blacks in the 1920s.
It was the wealthy. I mean, for
middle class, upper middle class Blacks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was also the affluent. You talk about 35 blocks. That's not small. 35 blocks of wealthy Black people in the 1920s was unheard of, unprecedented. I think the closest thing that came to it was probably Richmond, Virginia, in about between the 1910s to 1930s, Richmond, Virginia, because of the banking industry, Black banks popping up. But Tulsa was just a myriad of Black small businesses mainly that weren't necessarily in finance, which is, that whole Black Wall Street piece. But the money flow there was where the Black Wall Street came in. And I think it was Booker T. Washington that coined it such. So, just something to think about.
Yeah. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't a Black Wall Street as we think of today. Just think of it as a thriving mini city of well-to-do Black businesses that were run by middle class, upper middle class, and as Brent said, even rich African Americans in America in the 1920s, when that just did not happen. In some ways, it was almost, not illegal, but societal wise, most of America back then, of course, being white, did not like to see African Americans, Black Americans doing well, especially amongst themselves, and then white America not being involved. So that's what led to the Tulsa race massacre in Tulsa. And Brady, get a chance, you can throw up the first slide.
Okay. As we bring it up to talking about, well, we're going to dive into it. So let me pull it up. Give me one second.
Yeah, so this slide is we're gonna just basically go through the kind of bullet points, high level of explaining what the Tulsa race massacre was when they attacked Black Wall Street, and then just kind of step through it. So, Brett, can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah.
Make it a little bigger. Okay, so what we have on the screen here is just a graphic, or a card with 4 bullets, and we're just going to kind of go through what actually happened and what it was. So we titled this "The Tulsa Massacre of Black Wall Street." So where it took place was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a neighborhood called Greenwood, and that neighborhood was typically called Black Wall Street. And again, don't think of Wall Street as an exchange. Think of Wall Street as a thriving city of Black-owned businesses. Bullet number 2 shows the type of business they had. They had hotels, and all these are with S's. These are all plural. Hotels, newspapers, doctors' offices, barbers, restaurants, grocery stores, professional offices like real estate agents, dentists, lawyers, cabarets, clubs, cigar bars, you name it. Whatever you have in your city right now for entertainment, this area called Greenwood in Tulsa had all this, and it was all run and owned by African Americans at the time in 1921. So what happened was I think it was, what was yesterday? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah, the first.
Is it June 1st? No, well, they say it was May. It was in May. So
yeah, it's roughly 100 years since.
Yeah, roughly 100 since. So May 1921, a white mob attacked the neighborhood. And here's the thing that was just sick. They went to this neighborhood, a mob of white people. And I think there were like hundreds of people, of these white folks that came into this Greenwich business district, and indiscriminately started to kill and slaughter the Black residents. They were shooting them dead in the street, in the head, in the chest, women, children, kids, you name it. Other parts, they firebombed buildings, right? So, they would drive up, almost like a Molotov cocktails, threw them in buildings. And they even had planes dropping bombs on these homes and on these businesses. Now, remember, it wasn't just wholly businesses. People also lived there. So these are also residential homes there as well. So they were firebombing businesses. They were shooting people indiscriminately in the streets, in the head, in the chest, just killing them, wiping them out. And they also had people, these white owners that owned planes that then were going out, flying these planes over this business district and dropping bombs. Imagine in America, it bombing itself is essentially what happened. You had Americans bombing Americans in an American city in 1921. Now, of course, back then, Black Americans were not considered American. They weren't even considered in some ways human. So, which in a lot of people, justify this action. And at the end of what led to all this was this was a 35 block radius that was burned to the ground. As many as 300 people dead, hundreds injured, between 8,000 and 10,000 left homeless, more than 1,470 homes burned or looted. And eventually 6,000 were detained in internment camps. So what they did is they came back to this already decimated area, took up all these people that the residents that lived, the Black residents, and put them in internment camps and essentially blamed them for this incident. It's almost like in World War II when Japanese Americans were put in internment camps and were blamed in some ways for the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So Black Wall Street was bombed, totally destroyed, massive murder running rampant, and then they're blaming the surviving residents, put them in internment camps, and blame them for this incident.
And you got to think about what this did to wealth at that time. You're talking about many of these businesses and homeowners did not have insurance because a lot of insurance was not available to them. So these are people that own their homes, legally own their homes, and all of a sudden with the destruction of their homes, that generation, the next generation, is no longer receiving that wealth. So what this did to Black wealth in the United States was tremendous. Like it decimated Black wealth. Because again, at this time in 1921, Tulsa was one of the few places where Blacks were prospering in such large numbers. I mean, this was the equivalent to, at the end of it, I think it was like a $1.2 million in damage. $1.2 million in 1920.
Mm-hmm.
$1.2 million in 1920.
Yeah, I think in today's dollars, it's like $30 to $40 million worth of damage.
It's like, yeah. So you're talking about $35 million in today's damage. And this is just a 35 block radius. So that's $1 million per block. I mean, when you think about it like that, $1 million per block is unbelievable. And not only that, when they were living in what was called tent city, because many of these people had to, they had no place to live. And these mobs were running into their homes and just lighting anything on fire that they knew would catch. And, in some cases using accelerants. These businesses had already been in existence 10 years or more. So that means that in the early 1900s, these Black businesses were already established, paying taxes and thriving in an America that did not want them. And so the devastation, not only of the massacre, but what it did, how that reverberated throughout the history or these generations to come, could never really be quantified. These individuals lost the ability, not only the spirit for entrepreneurship, because it did about 1940, some residents made it back, because you're talking over 300 dead. So there's no coming back from that. Some of the residents, entrepreneurs that did make it back, they had to reestablish their business. They had to earn or borrow enough money just to get up and running. They had to have new construction. And where did the loans come from? They came from the same white people that burned down their homes, their businesses. Now they have to go ask them for loans, for money, for goods, services to help rebuild something that was theirs anyway. So now they're indebted, further indebted. And, the impact on the mindset for just a community at that time, and really for Blacks, because it wasn't something that just went unknown. Many Blacks spoke about it. Those that traveled, migrated, relocated, the news traveled. And that just led to more African Americans in this country just feeling like there's no way we'll ever be able to make it. And it took away so much from the potential of those individuals in that space to branch off and help educate other African Americans about, entrepreneurship and the benefits of entrepreneurship. And it took away the American dream. If you work hard and you invest and do what you need to do to create this company, this business, and it's thriving, you will have a life that reflects that hard work. It was destroyed. So
it's stuff like this. So it's like when people, look at African Americans today and they're like, oh, I'm not saying everybody, and I'm not saying everyone the same, but certain people look at African Americans that are in the inner city or wherever and say, oh, they're lazy, they don't want to work. They're violent. You got to look back at things like this, right? Because if your family back in the 1920s had wealth, owned businesses, and had, was generating a lot of money for the family, that generational wealth never made it down to the kids today, right? So Tulsa burned out. So back to the point Brent was making earlier, after like you said, after this happened, parts of this area were built back. The crazy part is the insurance companies, many of them would not pay to cover these burned down homes. Right, because again, this almost goes back to the whole redlining thing and just denying African Americans the right that they're due. So when things were built back, a lot of that money came out of these African Americans' pockets themselves, family, friends, because a lot of these insurance companies would not honor their agreements, would not honor the insurance policies because again, it's for whatever. I don't know exactly what the reason was, but a lot of
that's the reason.
Yeah, well, right, that were Black, but there was something in their contracts they made up. They use like these loopholes and say, oh, because this, that, and the third, we're not going to pay you. So now you have this whole area completely decimated, and they're not even given the insurance money they're due to rebuild. So then you fast forward to today, all that generational wealth that burned up on Black Wall Street never made it through the next 100 years to those families. So now you have people struggling. What are you going to do now? You can't get a job. We're still talking about Jim Crow. We're still talking about big racism. The money that you had in Black Wall Street is now totally gone. Your home is gone. Your business is gone. Therefore, it's really, I just need people to take back, and this is where knowing your history comes in. If people would take a step back and realize the struggle that many of African Americans have been through since they've been in this country, Again, you have people here that built up generational wealth, and it was absolutely stolen from them. So when you look at people today, and again, not making excuses for everybody, just kind of in aggregate in general, when you look at a lot of African Americans today in certain situations, it's not necessarily their own fault. Like you have stuff like this that happened to their families, no fault of their own, and they were never, ever, ever, ever given the chance to even rebuild and bring back some of that generational wealth. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of us as a people are going through a lot of struggles because of stuff like this. And this is the one that got notoriety. I was listening to something today on one of the channels where a historian was saying, what happened in Tulsa was the big one, right? But there are many Tulsa that happened all throughout America, in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, where you'd have these quote unquote little white mobs that would go into these black
50s
neighborhoods
and 60s.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's even go maybe into the civil rights in the 60s. But basically, where they would decimate these black neighborhoods, burn the businesses. We all know what the KKK did back in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. So there were many Tulsas, many Black Wall Streets as well that were, and again, that money from those businesses, those black businesses that were burned down or torched, never again made it through today to the people today. So there's a lot of reasons why African Americans are in the situation that they're in. Not everyone is struggling. I'm not saying everyone is, but a lot of, as a people and as a culture, a lot of us are because of things like Tulsa, things like Black Wall Street being burned down and all that wealth being taken away.
And even to go to the point where you're talking about a race of people from a stance of having stable income, stable wealth in any fashion is relatively new to this race as it is in America. So, when you're looking at African Americans, you think, well, why aren't you all doing better? Why isn't the race as a whole more prosperous? Number one, the rules still aren't level. The rules aren't even close to level. And you still have African Americans being shot in the streets today, and by those who are sworn to protect and uphold the law. And, psychologically, what this does to people is make them feel less than or angry or mad. And that converts into a distraction. You can't focus on prospering when you're just mad. You can't focus on prospering when you're sad. You can't focus on prospering when you think the rules are against you, and if you play, it's just going to be taken anyway. Because Tulsa was a physical representation of just murder of 300 plus African Americans, because really they say, I think it started from a young man running out of an elevator, and he was in the elevator with the young white girl, and they both hear this. They both ran out the elevator screaming. No one knew why. They arrested the young man. The young lady, the girl refused, did not want to press charges, said nothing happened. They still arrested him. And when his parents and those in his community showed up to the court to basically, advocate for his rights, that's when it all escalated. And, in that space, there's so many times where Black people really just want their rights, and just showing up for their rights means they may die. And, in the space when you're looking at, how that correlates to money, you cannot prosper when you are mentally still suffering. You can try, but wealth in the United States for the large majority of African Americans is a very new concept. And so every year when we're looking at like, oh, what does your life insurance policy look like? A lot of Black people don't have life insurance. Why? Because when they had insurance in Tulsa and they showed up to use it, the insurance agent said no. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't trust them. In 1929, when the Great Depression hit, which was soon after Tulsa, so think about these people who are still recovering, and then the Great Depression comes. There's no way you're recovering from that. And when the banks finally did open, because again, during the Great Depression, the banks actually closed their doors. And so when the doors did open and Black people went to go get their monies out of the bank, it was gone with no rhyme or reason. And you have no representation that's going to advocate for you to figure out where your money went. So you still to this day have some Black people who just keep their money under a pillowcase. They keep their money in a shoebox. It's buried somewhere in the backyard, if they have a yard.
And real quick, just go to the point you said earlier, which is I don't want us to gloss over it. The point you said about what happened, the reason this happened. Yeah. So there, like Brent said, there was a young man, a Black boy, and a white girl. She operated the elevator. in the elevator. No one knows what happened inside. But as Brent said, she did not want to press charges. She said nothing happened. They were fine. Still, like Brent said, still arrested the man. What happened was that the day when because so what happened was when he was arrested, you had again this white mob that were basically going to storm the jail to quote unquote hang this boy for attacking a white girl. When again she said nothing happened. Then you had people from the Greenwood neighborhood. Some of them were World War I veterans who fought for this country. Right now they're trying to protect one of their own inside the country that now hates them. And so when they got there to protect them, there was kind of a bit of a conflict between the white mob coming to attack the jail and the people, the armed black residents there who were there to protect the boy. And that's when this whole scuffle started. And that's what led to them, I think the next day or that night, then storming the Greenwood neighborhood and burning it down.
It was the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this started from something that was very, very trivial. And again, the girl said nothing happened. So again, when you step back and think, well, you know, again, why are black people mad? Why are they in the circumstances? It's situations like that. Nothing even happened, but yet they were persecuted and prosecuted for something that didn't even happen. They just kind of made this up because they wanted to, because they did not like black people. And again, so I mean, like Brent said, that's why it's hard for African Americans at times when you're just in a state. It's like what's going on right now with all these killings of black men by cops, right? That is stress on us as a people daily, right? Because we literally go out in our car and don't know if we're going to make it back home. You know, white folks never have to worry about that. They don't even understand that concept, right? And to live with that fear, I mean, it's right. I can't even imagine living back in 1921 what it was like. And then had seen that mob come into storm neighborhood and burn it down. So to kind of wrap this up, we brought this up today because you know, one of IA's main tenets and pillars is that we want to definitely help, because we said this back in last year how black wealth right now has just caught up to white wealth back in 1962.
And that was as of 2020. So I'm sure
right.
It's worse.
Especially with the pandemic. Yeah. So we're probably set back even more. And so, you know, with this being the 100th year of the Tulsa Massacre, we just wanted to bring it to light for our community. People that don't know about it, hopefully go and research it, or maybe learn a little bit about it now. And those who do know about it, maybe go talk to your family and friends about it even more. But this is very important because, you know, we're all about, you know, making money here. But this was an instance where we were making great money, living great lives, and it was all snatched away based solely on racism. And a lot of that we still face today. We're fighting a good fight, but we still have a lot of, you know, a long way to go with you know, George Floyd and the whole Chauvin case that just happened is a perfect example of you know, what we're still fighting for. So so Brent, if you could put up a slide too, just want to give everyone a visual. So this, you can zoom in a little bit. This is so this picture, so on the screen now we have a picture of a before and after. So the picture on the top shows Black Wall Street, or Greenwood at the time when it was thriving, people in the streets, buildings, you know, look nice and pristine. And the picture below it is totally burned out. But I mean, the picture on the bottom, I don't know if any of you are World War II buffs, but if you go back and look at pictures of Germany after World War II, when, you know, the United States and the Allies bombed Germany into non-existence almost, the picture on the bottom of Tulsa and of Greenwood after the mob attacked them, it looks similar to Nazi. It looks similar to Germany after World War II. That's how hard and terrible the devastation was for Tulsa and for that neighborhood. So again, the top is the picture of Greenwood and the Black Wall Street while it was thriving, and the bottom is after it was bombed out, again, for no reason other than strictly racism.
So, I mean, to kind of put a goal in, you know, behind this and a reason for this topic or a call to action, you know, if you aren't talking to your family about the history of the United States, you should. And it doesn't mean there's not progress. I mean, clearly we're not saying that because we wouldn't be coming to you live talking about this. But this imagery is burned into some of our grandparents' minds. And it's hard for them to understand how to progress or to prosper in a world that they still see like this. And this, again, isn't that long. We're talking about 100 years. It's not that long. It's not that long when you're talking about it's been 500 years of white wealth and white secrets of business being passed down generation to generation to generation to generation. You know, we're at a deficit. And so,
I mean, stuff like Black Wall Street denied a big, you know, hundreds or even thousands of African Americans the ability to pass on generational wealth because it was snatched from them for no reason, for absolutely no reason, just strictly based on racism.
Yeah, and I mean, we can go into predatory loans for home mortgages,
redlining,
redlining, loan business loans being denied, VA benefits that never were recognized. I mean, it goes much further than Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you really think why aren't more blacks as a race wealthy, like extremely wealthy? We're still recovering from this. We're still recovering from last week when one of our family members didn't make it home at the hands of the police that didn't make the news. And we're talking about banks that all of a sudden, there's still people getting house appraisals that for an African American, the appraisals coming in. This is like now.
This happened like a month ago.
Yeah. The appraisal comes in $100,000 more when it's believed to be the home of a white owner versus a black owner. Like right now, like this is happening right now. Mm-hmm. So, $100,000 is a big difference when you're trying to pass on generational wealth. Again, $100,000 could be the difference between paying for your kid's education or not. Cash, paying for it in cash. So it's a sad thing, but it's also, I like to say, part of the reason why Leon and I started Invest in Education Academy. We have the IAA Crypto Bulls, and we have the IAA Panthers and our community. And the reason why we talk to so many people about wealth is we're trying to narrow that gap. And we're really, we have white people in Invest in Education Academy who are great people. Like, in no way are we saying like, white people aren't good people. Like, but it's predominantly African-American platform, and it's open to all. And it's that need in our community. Originally, our friends and family were the people asking us most about what to do in the stock market, what to do, and now cryptocurrency being, like new. A lot of people don't know how to navigate it. And please understand, if you take the time to really get serious about your finances, you can start that process of generational wealth occurring or further it. Because we're not saying everybody, we have millionaires, we have a number of millionaires inside the Invest in Education Academy platform, both in all levels, Bulls, Panthers, whatever it may be. In the next week, we're meeting to probably do another deal with our IEA Panthers group. And so it's definitely money flowing out there for you, but you need to know how to protect it. You need to know, legally, what can you do? And please let this picture be the moment that kind of wake you up. And this podcast, if you listen to our podcast, or if you're watching this live, the moment where you say, you know what, I need to really get serious about my money, because number one, if I'm not serious about my money, I'm not gonna be able to pass it on to my nephews or nieces or daughters, sons, grandparents, parents. And I know I said pass on, but sometimes we need to educate up. It's not just about educating down, like to our kids. We have to educate up to our parents, like talk to them, because they grew up with, they still have like the bandages on from these images. They have seen some version of this in DC, in Philly, in New York. They've seen this. Learn about Reaganomics is eye-opening. And so, when you really look at where you are today, please, please, please make this the moment you get serious about your finances. That is the reason why Leon and I do this. We want to educate and create change. For whomever is interested.
I just want to give two last quick examples. One, and I don't know the name, but if you Google it, you'll probably find it. There's a beach in California that was Black owned forever. Yeah. I don't know the year, but the beach was snatched away from the family. It may have been in the 40s, 50s, or 60s. I'm not sure when, but it was snatched away from the families, maybe earlier than that. It was snatched away from the Black family for no reason other than that they were Black. And they just now, I want to say it was like Sacramento, whatever city it was, the city just now voted to return that beach to the family. And the family's like, that's well and good, but now we need restitution and maybe even some form of reparation for the money that we missed over the last 30, 40, 60 years that of income of revenue we did not get from that beach. So just returning the beach alone is good, but it's still not enough, because there's a lot of money that was left on the table when that was snatched from them for no other reason that they are Black. Other one, and the main one is the GI Bill coming out of World War II.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Black, with the Tuskegee Airmen and all the Black folk that fought for America in World War II, beat Nazi Germany, beat Hitler. When they came home to racism, right? They came home to segregation. The GI Bill was denied. So the GI, just real quick, the GI Bill is what built a lot of the generational wealth in white households today. It was built on
the vast majority.
Yeah, it was built on the backs of homes. So when they came home from the war, the GI Bill let these soldiers buy homes with an S or home. You know, their family home that was passed down generation to generation to generation. That was denied Black soldiers, right? So now you have white America comes home, buys out these homes, pass these homes down, building generational wealth. Your Black soldiers who did the same fighting, died, spilled the same blood, comes back home.
It wasn't even the same fighting. They were on the front lines. They were the experiments. They were the first to take bullets.
I mean, they were, on the front lines, like Brent said, in some instant experiments, but they spilled blood, came home, and were denied the GI Bill. So now you have them wanting to get jobs as janitors, doing crime, whatever they have to do to feed their family, because again, they're denied the GI Bill, which helped white soldiers build generational wealth. So again, when you look at the plight and state of Black America, not saying all of this because of the issue. I mean, we have our issues at home. Trust me, I know. But a lot of this stems from a lot of things that we were denied, 50, 60, 100 years ago. Things like the GI Bill, things like Black Wall Street. These are things that we were denied the opportunity to build generational wealth, and has us, in some instances, in bad situations today.
Yeah, like books in schools. How about that? But is this conversation going forever? So we're going to give you all our stock picks, but again today, make it the day you get serious about your finances, because we know, we've spoken to, we've seen, we've been interacted with those who still feel like the stock market is rigged. Cryptocurrencies is fake. It's not real. It's gambling. All these things. And I mean, this is Leon and I. And anybody who knows Leon and I, we're straight shooters. And if you know us, you know we're real people. We've made a lot of money in the market. So so we just hope that it's not another 10 years, 20 years goes by and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I would have. I remember when I watched this one podcast, listened to this podcast, and I meant to do something when it was over, but I just didn't do something. And we say this all the time, even if it's not with us. There are a lot of organizations we completely believe in out there that can serve you well. Just do something. And you have to be in a community of people who are headed towards like a common goal, because just winging it on your own, it could work, but it's just a much harder lift. So with that being said, we're gonna add to that hope of helping people out and give you our 2 stock picks. So today I'll go first. Move this out the way. As you all know, there's a global semiconductor shortage. So I'm picking NXP Semiconductors. NXP Semiconductors is ticker symbol NXPI. Again, NXP Semiconductors. Ticker symbol is NXPI. It closed today at $207.85 per share. And the market cap on this company is $57 billion market cap. And it is a dividend paying company. And the dividend is about 2 times what you will earn in amongst some of the best savings accounts right now at 2.25%. Now, one of the things to think about is the fact that, as we stated earlier, there's a global shortage on semiconductors. So really some of the more established companies that are in the semiconductor space have a leg up on a lot of other businesses. And even once these orders begin to get filled again, you have some plants, I mean, not just car manufacturing plants, but computer plants, all types of plants that literally have had to close their doors because they just don't have enough semiconductors. And so this is just a real story for application purposes. I went to go look at a truck this weekend. And when I went to go buy this truck, they didn't have any, no trucks on the lot at this particular car company. And so I asked, where are trucks? They said, we're just not getting them in. There's a shortage of some computers or something. The salesperson didn't even know what the shortage was. He said it's a shortage of computers or something. So he said, we might get some within the next 2 weeks, maybe. let me print you out an MSRP form, which is the manufacturer suggested retail price. And he gave it to me. He was like, oh, but when you come back, you want to add $5,000 to the MSRP. And I was like, what do you mean add $5,000? He said, oh, because of the shortage, we have to start charging more for it because supply and demand, basic economics, right? But he said it so casually, like, oh, here is the suggested manufacturer retail price, which normally is the sticker price in the window, which is what car companies base their price on. Normally you negotiate that down. This guy told me add 5,500, and if I wanted the highest model of this particular truck, add 7,000 or maybe 8,000 to it, and that would be the actual price. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But these companies really do need the semiconductors to start production back up because there are shortages. So it's a very, very real thing.
Yep. Okay. So my pick is not a stock, it's going to be a cryptocurrency, and it is called Compound. And the reason I pick Compound is because, so first off, to find Compound, you can buy Compound on Coinbase. It's not available on Robinhood. Coinbase is the place you want to go, or it's available also on Binance if you can get on that. But it's probably easy to get it on Coinbase. So Brent, you want to go to if you go to CoinMarketCap, coinmarketcap.com, you can pull it up there. So what Compound does, so the reason I like Compound is because, like I've always said, I like companies, or I like in crypto space, I like coins or anything in business that helps people make money, right? Those are typically good investments because there's always demand for them. So what Compound does, because remember, with a cryptocurrency, underneath it is some technology project. So the technology project with Compound is it's a way for you to earn interest on your crypto. So if you have Bitcoin, you can send Bitcoin to your Compound wallet, and then you instantly start earning interest in Bitcoin on your Bitcoin, right? So it's like in dollar, in a bank account, if you're earning 1%, you're earning dollars on your dollars. With Compound, you're going to earn whatever crypto you send. If it's Bitcoin, if it's Ethereum, interest is going to be paid in that same cryptocurrency. So the Compound project allows people to earn interest on their crypto that they already own, and the interest rates are based on supply and demand. I'm not going to go too deep into how it works, but within the Compound framework, if there's a whole lot of Compound that people have sent there, the rates are lower because there's, again, supply and demand. There's a lot more supply. If there's not as much Compound in the Compound framework at that time, then your rate will be higher. So and just give you how this thing has moved. So last year at this time, it was trading at $66. This year it got to a high of $905, and today it closed at $431. So Compound moves. It's one that is, like I said, it helps people make money on their crypto. That's why I like it. So Compound is my pick. I actually bought Compound originally right around where it is now, $430. And then I basically doubled my money, and because it went from that up to 900 something. Now it's back down here around where I bought it. So any chance I get, I'm actually buying more right now. So again, Compound. But I always say, do your research, because what I gave you was a very overarching description of what Compound, how it works. But you definitely want to look into how actually how it works more detailed and see if it's something for you.
Yep, and also to full disclosure, both Leon and I own that. So many of the stocks we do own, but some we're just researching because we think it's a great stock for you all to do more research on. With that being said, and with the topic today, we want to kind of bring it all to a close by saying, do something. If you're thinking about your finances, it doesn't mean you're not wealthy, but there are ways to become more wealthy, because we need to pass it on and educate not only down, but educate up. Have these conversations, normalize conversations about money. Because I'm telling you, in my house, it's a normal conversation, and I can see the difference in my kids with other kids when they're talking about what they're doing with their allowance. It's a far different conversation. My daughter doesn't even understand why they're spending money. Like, she doesn't understand the ice cream truck and why people would just throw money away at the ice cream truck. Her questions are like, Daddy, why aren't they investing their money? And it's not everybody does what they can for their kids, but financial literacy is one of the best gifts I believe you really can give. And again, talking to your parents. Like, your parents are sometimes sitting on money they don't know what to do with. And you don't even know they have it. And sometimes they're in need of money that you don't even know they're in need of. But
I bet most of them have their money in savings accounts, which is losing money per day based on inflation. So definitely have those conversations up, like Brent said, to our parents and our grandparents. Because like I said, a lot of our parents and grandparents, especially our grandparents, they were, some of them may even been around during the Tulsa Massacre, or they definitely were the generation right after that were very, very, very familiar with what happened.
I'm telling you, anybody who came up around the Great Depression, they have money in the wall, they have money in the floorboard, they have money behind the toilet. If you came up in the Depression, you do not trust banks fully. And honestly, I'm not saying they're wrong with that thought.
Right, not at all.
And so you just have the conversation. If you're interested in joining Invest in Education Academy, please feel free to go to investingeducationacademy.com. If you're interested in learning more about crypto, we have a very advanced, fast-paced group. It's called IEA Crypto Bulls. We're over 50% registered now, like members. So we have like 10 slots left. If you're interested in joining, please contact Leon or myself, Brent Simpson, and we will be happy to give you more information about that platform. Have a great day, and thank you again for being with us. We're going on a little over a year ourselves with Invest in Education Academy. So you all always showing up for us. We truly appreciate you all.
Definitely.
Have a great day.